Good day, guys, and welcome back to my channel. First of all, please excuse the voice. I've been sick for a couple of days. Then, secondly, I was planning on making this video with the background sound. I was never planning on speaking while doing the video. However, unfortunately, after reviewing the footage, I found that my mic didn't record a single sound. Okay, so without any wastage, first of all, I always make sure that my bucket is well cleaned. You'll see here that I rinse out the bucket several times. Then I fill it up. Then I add soap while adding water for that thick suds. I don't add soap first because I don't want suds overfilling the bucket. I want water in the bucket, not only suds. That's the reason for doing it the way that I did. There's my washing mitt, and now we can start to wash the bike. Now usually you'll wet the bike beforehand. I decided during this wash that I wanted to concentrate a lot of soap on the bike first. The feeling or the reason being was that when you water the bike down first, immediately when you put the soap on it, the water will start rinsing that soap away. So what I wanted to have that, I wanted thick and strong soap mixture in order to rinse and wash the bike properly. Now, this was the day that I dropped the bike, so this was after all the work had been carried out to fix the damages that was incurred to the bike with the drop. So it was due for a wash after the ride that I've had in the morning with my son. So you'll see here, you make sure that you wash every nook and cranny with soap. You make sure the forks, the radiator, the bottom fairing, everything is as clean as it possibly can be. Make sure that headlight, the nose of the bike, it's always exposed to bugs and road grime, that it is washed properly. Now you'll find what I'm doing here as we move to the back of the bike. Wash the hugger underneath the seat cowl, because this area accumulates dirt during every single meter that you drive or ride. Your back tire spins up dirt at an incredible pace and throws it in everywhere, especially on the NC 750. The reason I installed that back hugger is the rear shock is right in front of the rear tire, and there's nothing protecting it. So that hugger keeps the dirt out of the rear shock, as it was thrown in there always. Make sure that you clean everything, the footrests where your feet goes after walking in the dirt and all those kind of things. Wash everything. Make sure that you have cleaned every single part. Now on the other side of the bike, you see there, I have started washing the exhaust pipe, washed the side covers, the engine. As far as you can see, try and make sure that you have washed it. Again, under the seat cowl, make sure there's chain wax and chain grease and tire shine being flung everywhere. Make sure that you have cleaned everything. Again, on the right side of the bike, wash the side covers, the fuel tank, the side of the bike, the right hand side of the handlebar, the flickers, mirrors. The back of the mirrors are always caked in dirt and bug dirt. Make sure you get it all off. What I'm doing here is I'm washing the visor on the inside. Make sure you wash the visor with a very soft mitt. Otherwise, you will impose scratches on that visor. Visors are very soft. Again, going to the front of the cowl at the bottom, the frame, the side of the radiator. I can wash my radiator on the front. Of course, I have a radiator guard on it that covers those little fins, so I'm not too worried about that. You might not. Be careful when you go to clean your radiator. Do not bend those fins. It will seriously hamper your bike's ability to cool down, and it might cost you heaps and heaps of money to set right. Again, making sure I have not left any part of the visor unwashed, making sure I have washed the inside as well as the extension on top. Also going on the sides around the speedometer area, making sure I have washed the grips, the switches, the handlebars, everything down there, inside of the plastics around the neck of the bike, as well as the inside of the mirrors. Making sure everything is clean, properly washed, and ready for drying. Back of the bike, the top box carrier, as well as the seat. Guys, make sure the seat is clean. The seat, it gets sun the whole day. You sit on it, uh, you get full of dust, and you ride on it. The seat is always dirty. Make sure that you wash it properly. Now we're going down to the wheels. Here you need to make sure that you get in all the nooks and crannies. Make sure that you get everywhere, on the left as well as on the right. You might have to move the bike. I have not used my paddock stands here. If you have paddock stands, that will be of a great assistance to you when washing the wheels. If you do not, wash the one side, wash the other side, then you move the bike a meter or two forward or back, and then wash the left and then the right, or vice versa. You'll see here that I give extra attention to the top part where I cannot really get into. Luckily, the NC only has a disc at the one side, so it actually gives you a lot of access on that front wheel. It's easy on the NC to wash that front wheel. You can get in there. Make sure your fork protectors, if you have they on front, they are clean. Your fork tubes as well as the stanchions are all clean. Now we're going to the rear of the bike. Now, be careful here because your chain is full of chain lube or chain wax. It's going to dirty your mitt very quickly. You'll also see I am using another mitt here. I have a mitt for wheels and a mitt for the bike. And you never mix the two because there's metal parts in your brake pads and those comes off on the wheels. So you use another mitt for the wheels. So wash around the chain. If you can, avoid it as far as possible. Make sure that you wash that rear caliper. You wash around it. Make sure that you clean there. It gets very dirty there. This side, on the exhaust side, it gets dirty with exhaust fumes. It does make the bike dirty on that side. Make sure that you get in everywhere. At the back of the disc, in the front of the disc also. Also on the top end there by the swing arm, you are not going to get in. You are going to have to move the bike here to get the front part of the rim. As you see here, I move the bike forward. Now I can get to that bottom part. So you get in there with a big mitt full of soap to wash that thing properly. Make sure it's nice and clean. Thing is, guys, if you do this, if you go through the effort to do this, do it properly or leave it. If it's a lot of work, it takes about an hour to wash a bike properly. So if you do it the right way, you'll be rewarded the next time you get on that bike. Feels like a new bike. Alright guys, now we are getting to the rinsing stage. So what I'm doing here is I'm first concentrating on that bottom suspension knuckle of the rear suspension. Wanted to make sure that that is clean. And then I'm going to the front, to the chin spoiler there, making sure that that piece of plastic is clean. And it was a good thing that I've done that, because I've noticed some stubborn dirt down there, and I reached for the mitt and I scrubbed it off. So now comes the rinsing process, and with the rinsing you always start at the top, as you'll see me do here. And the same with your car guys, you always start at the top and then work your way to the bottom. On the bike there, you make sure that the speedometer and the clocks area are washed and rinsed off. Make sure the switches are nicely and properly rinsed, but not too much. You don't want water in those areas, or standing water. Make sure that the seat and the tank and everything is rinsed off. Remember, there's areas where you can see under the seat. Make sure that there's water in there, that you manage to get all the foam out there. Make sure when you wash the engine that you get all the foam out. You don't want soap residue sitting there, and tomorrow morning when you ride, that soap stains the engine. It's happened to me before. It's not a nice thing to have happened. Make sure there that you wash around the wheel and the undercarriage there, the under tray, the hugger, everything there. Okay guys, blowing. Now I've seen several different types of blowers, or people skipping this step as a whole. Guys, you can skip this step if you don't have a blower. However, I strongly recommend doing this step. On a motorcycle, you have a lot of fine places like inside the radiator that gets full of water, and inside the engine. On a car, the engine is well closed if you wash the car, except if you intentionally wash the engine. But yeah, everything's exposed. You want to blow that water out of the crevices if possible. So it's easier to get that done on the radiator, within the engine, between parts, the wheels, the tires, um, places where there's joints in the plastics, areas like that. It makes your drying time, it cuts 2/3 off the drying time. You notice there how much water comes out there as I blow on the radiator. I'm not sure if you can see on the other side as well. There's always a lot of water that comes out there. Right, so we are going to the drying phase now. After blowing, I always use a good quality detailing spray, a quick detailer. This one is by Geon, called Geon Quick Detailer. It's a very good product. It assists with your rag to easily slide across your surfaces, uh, and picking up water easily. It also assists you, um, to with the prevention of marring or damaging painted areas. So it helps on your car and on your bike, or any painted surface for that matter. I always use a good quick detailer, even if you can find some with a ceramic infused or so. good quality product there. Also, what helps a lot, guys, on your car on painted surfaces, a good quality wax coat. Unfortunately, this bike I cannot wax. It's a matte white, so you cannot really wax the matte paints. But on the cars, I certainly use a quality wax product. So as you can see here, you dry everything off. I've taken my time with a blower, and I've properly blowed out all the nooks and crannies. So it just eases the drying process so much, guys. There's no places that keeps on staying wet no matter how many times you dry it. It really assists a lot. So what I'm doing now is I'm drying everywhere that I can see to make sure that the bike is dried as good as I possibly can dry it. Because you never know how long it's going to stand until you ride again. So you don't want standing water or little puddles of water anywhere on your bike. It's not a good thing. Remember, your bike is made of metal and water don't mix. That's why you put a coating on it like wax. Remember also, guys, if you polish your metal parts of your bike, say your petrol tank, your fuel tank, if you polish the fuel tank, it'll look beautiful because you have taken the time to polish up that paint. But remember, even after polishing that paint, there's nothing on that paint to protect it from the elements. That is why you put a wax coat on it. Wax or a ceramic coating or things of that nature is intended to act as a layer on or sit as a layer on top of your paint to protect the paint from any damage, from scarring, from sun, from whatever. That is why we put a coating on our paint. That's why these coatings exist. Alright, so here you can see me drawing around the handlebars, but inside the plastics, making sure that area is as dry as possible. I want to make sure that there's nothing there that's still wet. Remember, that's where your electronics, well, the electronics that you can see live. So you want it as dry as possible. So I will now continue drying the rest of the plastics. I'll dry the wheels and the seat inside the trunk, if you have one, everywhere that I can see that where there's still dampness. Go ahead and you dry it as well as you can. You can see there, as I'm drawing the front there, the bike looks properly dried at this stage. It looks dry everywhere. So what you do is you take your time, you walk around the bike a few times, you look at the bike, look everywhere where you think there might be water trapped or left, and make sure that all those fluids are dried off. You'll see what I'm doing here is I'm blowing on the spotlights just to get some trapped water out. I wiped at the bottom of the headlight and under the nose of the bike. Also under your switches on your handlebars. Make sure that you wipe the underside of the switches as well as the underside of the handlebars, because there will be water trapped there. Okay guys, trim dressing. I'm using a good quality Autoglym vinyl and rubber. This is one step that I never skip. Guys, trim dressing is very important to your bike and your car. It protects all the plastics against UV rays and sun. So it will also, up to a certain point, recover some damages caused. Like when I got this bike, my right hand switch was a bit faded and it was starting to go grey. It has recovered it somewhat. Um, you'll see I'll put it on the grab handles also, as well as on that rear top box bracket, on the hand guards, on everything that's plastic. I put that. Um, I also put it on my footrests, although it's actually better not to put it on the footrest because it makes them slippery. Usually, though, I do wipe the residue off. Then all the plastics there in front over the speedometer unit on the back side of the mirrors always gets a coat of a good quality trim dressing. I want to also highlight to you here is that if your bike is parked in the sun regularly, it is very important to put a proper trim dressing on all your plastics. It will really make a world of a difference to your bike. And if you park in the sun on a daily basis, I'd even go so far as to say put trim dressing on every third or fourth day, just to make sure that you protect your plastics, because the sun will severely damage all the plastics. It will really make it go grey, and it will damage it. It will make it go powdery as well. So the sun is definitely something that you want to protect your motorcycle from. I also just want to highlight, look at that right side cover. I'm going to coat that now. Look at what a difference this coating makes. It makes a world of a difference. It's like food for plastics. Okay, now for the seat, I use Motel's Perfect Seat because it leaves, as you can see there, it leaves a non-slip coating on the seat. It makes it safer, and I usually put that on the seat as well as on the grips. Um, and it also gives it a matte appearance. However, it protects the seat from UV and sunlight, and it's really a prime product to use on your bike. It's really Motel's products. You really can believe in them. So I always put that on the seat, and you'll be surprised if you see what it costs. It's really not that bad at all. So I would really suggest that you get that for your bike. They also have two sprays, similar sprays for your helmet. Um, the one is that you spray inside and then you need to leave the helmet outside to dry. The other one is to spray inside to freshen it up. It has a lemony smell. It smells very nice and fresh. I like to spray that into my helmet and my son's helmet after a ride. We wash the helmets inside often, and in between that helmet care spray from Motul really works a treat. Okay, guys, here's a little controversial one for you: tire shine. Now, many guys say that you should never put tire shine on a bike because you lean and it's dangerous. So I will suggest this only to people who really knows what they are doing and are used to tire shine and know where the limitations are. I've always had tire shine on my bikes. However, you need to know what to do and how to do it. So take your time, do it very carefully, and look what you are doing. Make sure that you do only the so-called sidewall of the tire. No tire shine must be left on the tread of the tire. Make sure. And if there goes on the tread of the tire, you need to take an old rag and make sure that you clean it off. Wipe it off, make sure that there's nothing left anywhere on the tread of the tire. Because the moment you lean and you hit that patch, you are going to drop your bike immediately right there. As always, you move the bike back or forwards and do the one side that you didn't get to, and then the other side. As indicated, we come in with a rag and we make sure that we wipe all and any residue from the tire shine, sitting anywhere close to the tread of the tire. Make sure that you wipe it all squeaky clean and all. Thank you viewers, and for today that will be it. As always, if you have liked this video and you enjoy this type of content, please consider subscribing to my channel and liking my videos, and guys, please comment. I always appreciate the comments and hope you've enjoyed it. Until the next video, stay safe, take care, and I'll catch you in the next one.